My love and blessings. ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। यथाग्नेर्दाहिका शक्तिः रामकृष्णे स्थिता हि या सर्वविद्यास्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। ॐ तच्छयोरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजं शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे शञ्चतुष्पदे। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ। It is so nice to see you all, at least once in a week. Hope this will continue. And the corona issue has reached our pressings almost. Karkal, Udupi cases are increasing day by day. And we are only about 20 kilometers away from either side. Hope things will go better in future. Anyway, most of the cases are from Bombay. Thousands of people came back. They brought, it's all divine will ultimately. So things are going on, and I thought before I continue with this, I was discussing about the three gunas, Sattva, Raja, Tama. What is Sattva, Raja, Tama? We hear so many times, Prakriti is guna, Prakriti is guna. Guna and Prakriti are not different. Guna itself is Prakriti, Prakriti itself is guna. Tamas, this matter is not tamasic. Tamas itself has become matter. Movements are there, Rajas itself has become movement. Knowledge and understanding is there, Sattva itself has become knowledge. So we should not confuse, because a term guna is used. We are accustomed to understand guna independent of the matter, substratum in which the guna is there. So when we say guna in Prakriti, it is the content, it is the constituent of Prakriti. That itself has become the universe. Whatever you see, it's a combination of Sattva, Raja, Tama. So this matter, when you see, immediately you must understand, Tamas has become, mother has become Sattva, Raja, Tamas. The power has become Sattva, Raja, Tamas, and Tamas is matter, has become matter. Rajas has become all movements, and Sattva. So coming to our little more detail, I thought, because we may not be able to get another opportunity in our life to go through these things again. We don't know how much we'll be able to, because the subject we have taken is so vast. The Indian concepts of the knowledge and wisdom, that sages have given to us is so vast, unimaginable. Any amount, any text if I take, it goes through years. Bhagavad Gita. In Chennai, I started Bhagavad Gita, taking classes on Bhagavad Gita. In 3 years, I could finish 6 chapters. Means about 10 years, 12 years I need to complete one Bhagavad Gita. Suppose I take 1 hour a day. So such a vast thing, such a deep thing to understand. So I thought I will continue a little with this Sattva Rajatama. See, we have acquired a kind of rigidity in our bodily existence. This rigidity is not allowing us to undergo any transformation. We resist. People go on telling, sages go on telling, our elders go on telling. Do like this, change your life. We don't want to change because this body is made up of tamas. So it has developed a resist which desists from changes. It's afraid. Anything spiritual and religious means we are afraid. A kind of fear comes. Oh, I am going to lose anything. It is what you are going to gain everything. The whole universe is going to become yours. What you are expecting a drop, you are going to get in ocean. Still, we are afraid. So, what is our ultimate goal is to acquire that pure love, the divine love, the ecstatic love that makes us unite with the Absolute, with the rest of the whole thing. I have separated and I have become a small puny thing in this universe. Now, I want to expand to the cosmic level. I want to unite with God. And it can happen only through love. Love alone. When the love becomes ecstatic love, pure love, when it comes out, then only we will be able to acquire that love is the whole thing, because it unites. The body and mind are perceivable. I can perceive body. Mind also continuously is moving about. Oh, my mind is restless. My mind, I understand. I can perceive my mind. I can see my body. So I can control, regulate. I can mold it in a proper way. I can change it. But there is, apart from mind and bodily existence, there is a third factor in us, the intellect. Mind cannot manage itself. Body cannot manage itself. To change, for the evolutionary growth. What happens is, mind has the origin in sattva. We saw sattvamsha becomes the pancha bhutas. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. The 5 sense organs come from individually, and collectively we get buddhi and manas. From sattvamsha, this is sattva. Mind is sattva. Buddhi is sattva. But mind, the vasanas, the tendencies have created, cannot hold intellect. But it holds the manas, buddhi. It catches hold of buddhi. Mind is always under the sway of vasanas. That's why it acquires the rajasic tendency. Because of the association it has acquired the rajasic tendency. By itself it is sattva. But it acquires rajasic tendency because of it comes under the sway of vasanas. Once the vasanas go away again, it becomes sattvic. So, as long as these vasanas are there, it becomes a great problem for us. So, the intellect alone can manage now. The intellect is to be awakened. This is the third power in us. Physical power is there, mental power is there, but they are not under their own control. So, the intellect, it can accomplish if it is awakened, it can accomplish anything. But this intellect has a motherly affection for mind. So, whatever mind demands, the intellect will see how it can arrange for that. It feels. Suppose we have a children growing up children, we see all prospects, including our old age. They will take care. Like that, mind thinks. Only because of mind, this body, mind, everything, life is going on because of the mind. It thinks, and it goes on supplying to the mind, and it sleeps off to the realities of life. It sleeps off to the higher realities. And it is awake to the world. It is highly awake to the world of dualities, because mind is seeking from the world. It is asleep to the, when this intellect awakens, it immediately recognizes the realities. Oh, I have done a mistake. This mind is not the thing which is the whole ultimate power to control life. There is higher power which controls the life. The body-mind is not controlled by itself. Till then you will be thinking the mind and life is one, mind is doing all, I am living because of mind. No. The intellect immediately recognizes when it awakens to the realities. Why does these realities come? Because when it goes on running after the enjoyments of the world, of possessions, earnings, holdings, all these sense enjoyments and all these things, what it will make is, it will create slowly bondage and suffering. Despondency comes. When this comes, despondency and mind is freezed. So, when the despondency comes in our awareness, existence, then we will see many times in many people it passes through many lives of suffering moments. Then finally it will see it is the suffering itself awakens the intellect. The sufferings, because going on suffering. I am holding on to something and I am continuously suffering. So this holding on, the intellect slowly awakens to the realities and immediately it recognizes, oh, the whole thing gets turned. That the mind is not the whole soul, and then the whole responsibility lies in the nature and in God. God is one. The nature in the background of God is taking care of the bodily existence. This, a kind of awakening in the mind is necessary for our spiritual growth. This is a kind of internal transformation. Oh, I was thinking, see, birth was not taken by me or my mind. The growth, the food I take, nature has provided food. Nature has provided everything what I want. Air, oxygen, water, sunlight, all that is necessary for my living, nature is providing. Food that I eat is digested by nature. The whole thing is nature. It is taking me stage by stage from growth, from cradle to grave by stages. I am going to grave now. How we are coming by one step of growth and then decay and death. Within that framework of the body, the framework, the site it's set. In that it has to, as it is undergoing, we will understand that nature is doing everything. Next birth is ready. Oh, nature is looking after. Nature is staying. A wound is there. It is healed by nature. I cannot heal it. So everything, oh, nature is doing. Nature is doing. I am nobody. So in body, there is always lethargy, laziness, sluggishness, excessive anger, lust, delay in taking decisions, delay in action, indecisiveness, all this, unpunctuality, irregularity, indecision, all these things are in the tamasic nature in us. When we yield to it, the body, when it yields to the tamasic nature, then it starts demanding. It makes the body see how that ego and mind, how it acts, you see. My body wants this and that, my body cannot tolerate, I cannot sit for long hours, this, that. So many things it has reasons. All this is the problem of the not it can do anything. But it acquires that. It doesn't want to change. It doesn't want to change. This is the tamas nature. Similarly is the mind. Mind is subtle matter. Body is gross matter. In that mind is subtlest matter. And it also starts continuously, it is moving about. It has acquired Rajoguna, therefore it has likes and dislikes, expectations and demands, choice and preferences, prejudice, ideals and ideas also it forms, then value structure. All this we create with the mind. So good and bad aspects of my life is created by mind, because it is always is under the vasanas, directed by vasanas. So if the jiva wants, it can come out of it. It can come out. The power to come out is there within it. But it has to, once it gives up, it's afraid to give up its bad habits. Because its sweet worldliness, enjoyments of the worldliness is going to be missed. I have to live a holy life. I have to live a pious life that is not comfortable for me. So I don't want to change. Mind doesn't want to change itself. Hundreds of times the Guru pleads. Hundreds of times the scriptures plead. Still man doesn't awaken. Because he feels it's a loss which has to be lost, which is a cause of bondage and suffering that we are holding on, that mind holds on. So the whole thing is I am clinging to the disorderly life. So that one this will make, I have to escape from things. I will start pointing out fingers to others. He is doing like this, she is doing like this is happening, that is happening. It is the creation of mind. So I am going to complain on all other things and all this to justify my position. I want to justify I am right. Unconsciously it is happening by automatically without my participation. Whole thing. I want to put the blame on others so that I am safe in my own way. That is most means if I understand also, it's not purposely doing. It has developed a defensive mechanism within itself. The body mind has created a defensive mechanism by which immediately it will point out to things of the outside. This awakened intellect, when it becomes the master, it takes over the charge of the mind and body, then it silences, slowly it releases the mind from the vasanas. Mind starts losing its rajoguna and start acquiring its original sattvaguna. Then it starts accepting world as it is. It wants to undergo the transformation. So all this justification, this, that, everything what is doing, it will collapse. So mind has the tremendous capacity to cook up things in such a way that I myself do not understand my mind. That is the problem. Each one person doesn't understand how the mind is working, why it is working like this. When goal comes into the supreme goal, comes bright before the eyes, it will not waver. But it cannot hold on to constantly to the ideal, constantly to the goal, because it is under the sway of vasanas. and it is Rajasic. Now as it becomes Sattva, Sattvic, it will hold on to the ideal. It dedicates itself to the higher ideals. The Rajas also generates animalhood in us. Rajas, you see, these are all functions of Rajas. Various ways the Rajas acts in us. The acquired Rajas. So, all the, animals, the Rajas in animals, it will kill one animal, another animal, for its sustenance. It wants, simply it will not go and kill some animal. It will kill for its sustenance. Man may not kill for his sustenance, but he continuously goes on killing others through words, through glances, gestures, through suppression, to indifference, dominance. All these are constantly killing others. So we experience in our lives how much painful it will be, somebody dominating on us, somebody suppressing us, showing ugly faces of dislike and all. These are some kind of, just like slow crucifixion, the soul undergoes. All these Rajogun, that will all subside. Tamas keeps us away from God. Rajas keeps us forgetful of God. Important things. Sattva alone makes us constantly remember God. We have to become slowly sattvic. But nature wants you to evolve. Nature's plan is evolution of jiva. So impure, imbalanced, this harmonious, it is not harmony. Unharmonious life creates despondency and suffering. Suffering is the necessary precondition of evolution. When suffering comes, the transformation comes. Many lives it may take, but ultimately, the one day or the other, understanding comes. All justification for unhealthy, impure, imbalanced, improper life collapse. That is the dawn of the clarity in intellect. Intellect is clear. Just like a storm raises clouds of dust. Nothing is visible. Trees, geese, everything will be covered when storm raises the dust. Then when all things will subside, everything vision becomes clear again. Like that, the cloud of Rajas and Tamas, the desires and positions and all that subside. Everything becomes clear. This clarified intellect, the awakened intellect, is most important part. This is Sattva. This is Sattva. Now Sattva is awakened in him. Just converts everything into Sattva. When you find yourself a divinity, if you hold on to divinity, everything becomes divine. If you hold on to Sattva, everything becomes Sattva. So, this intellect is now awakened intellect. It understands life is not at all dependent upon body, mind or external conditions. All these years of my life, mind was playing the fool of becoming the king in the bodily existence, in the framework of this body. And even intellect, it made its servant. Now intellect has taken over the regime. So it's going to manage. And this intellect goes on acquiring knowledge. This is most important part of our existence, that it makes the whole thing change. It is now understands nature in the background of God is doing all this play. My life is totally controlled. My life is guided by nature. I have to just be awake to that light. It takes charge of my bodily existence, my mental existence, what all I have to attain. Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam. He takes care of everything, provided I am awake to that light and give up my ego. So this intellect recognizes that. Now this intellect is receiving its inspiration from nature and God. When it is receiving its inspiration, when it is receiving its power from nature and God, how it might be working, you see. It becomes a power within itself. And it understands the source power, everything is, my existence is nature and God. The intellect takes over a new life of regime, of higher living, of sacrifice and service, of living a pure, holy, pious life. All this it acquires. Now, the buddhi, we use the term buddhi, awakened buddhi. The buddhi which is awake, it is similar to dhi. Dhi and this one is slightly different because spiritual awakening, when it happens, we call dhi. Dhiyo yona prachodayat. It is prachodana, it is awakening of the buddhi in the spiritual sense. This is in the viveka stage of awakening. It is not spiritual awakening. This is awakening with which the nature is turned back to grow in its own way. So this intelligence acquires sattva-based rajas. It has to work, it has to manage. It has to manage the body, it has to manage the mind, it has to manage the external activities, it has to manage its life, it has to manage its family now. But it needs rajas. But everything it has to do in rajas, this rajas is based on sattva. Sattva-based rajas doesn't harm. From sattva, knowledge, the wisdom is going to be supplied by the sattva. And rajas is activities going on. Sattvic activities. Whatever he does, sees that it is helping your evolution. It is helping everyone. So, collective welfare and individual welfare it seeks. So, this intellect, the energy drawn because it is from God and the nature, it releases all the other defects one by one, drops off, and it awakens the heart. Most important part of the intellect, which is awakened intellect, drawing inspiration from God and this one, it awakens heart. Once the heart awakens, that is love. Love for all beings, love for God. So this love unites with in unison with intellect, it starts working. Bhavas come. It is manifestation of the internal emotions, spiritual emotions, bhava. So bhavas raise in the system. So everything we were seeing in colored way, now slowly that worldly coloring that was given by the mind to this world is fading away, and then the divine is taking the charge. Everything is looking divine. Everything is looking so elevating. So the release of the sattva in us, which suppresses this rajas and tamas, the release of sattva gives the confidence. Oh, I can realize, I can achieve. I can control my mind and body. I can do anything I want. This Atma Bala fully comes out. Yes, I will realize. I will realize. That innermost voice start telling, yes, I will realize. Now, it is continuing life, family, work, all fields are going on externally. Smoothly it is going on because nature and God are participating in it. So he is mostly internal life, he is managing himself. So the supreme goal of life, it becomes the watchword of that mind. Smooth movements start, the total acceptance of how God has kept him, where God has kept him, what situations under he comes, total acceptance, total dedication. He dedicates himself totally to this woman, and the internal transformation is going on. All this smoothly go, without any jerk, without any spiritual disciplines, surrender to ideal, expected codes, love for all beings, all this manifest naturally. Humility, all this naturally manifest in that soul. So when sattva, sattvikata occupies the body and mind, they also start dedicating everything. Body, which is now, body is made up of tamas. Body is made up of tamas. But it starts radiating sattvikata. Body becomes sattvika. Just like a iron ball, it is by nature hard. When it is heated, it becomes soft. It has changed, the hardness, the matter has become soft. Like that, body starts, physical body becomes sattvika. It dedicates itself for the welfare of others. It dedicates itself for realization of God. It doesn't, nothing is impossible for that body. So, it is, though made up of tamas, now it has become sattvic body. Imagine the body of saints. They are beyond sattva raja tamas because it has realized God. Like that, our body becomes sattvic body. Mind becomes sattvic mind. What a beautiful thing you see. It acquires the intellect is by itself, now awakened intellect is purely rajasic, sattvic. It is radiating sattvikata, intellect, because it is managing everything beautifully. So the whole thing is, now the love heart, it is manifestation. Love is manifestation of the Atman. It is beyond sattva raja tamas. All this has within the nature, because it's a product, body to intellect, all layers belong to nature. Love doesn't belong to nature. So it doesn't have sattva raja tama. But when through whatever instrument you pass it through, that instrument's nature it may take. Suppose your mind is sattvic, the love will be sattvic. Suppose your mind is rajasic, the love flowing through your mind will be rajasic. If it is, that love will become tamasic if your mind is tamasic. So what is it, through what it passes through. So love, though it is beyond sattva raja tamas by itself, now there is no sattva raja tama gripping it, holding it. It is free. It flows out by itself, pure unalloyed love, uncontaminated, unconditional love flows out. It wants to give. What is the state of body-mind complex of a sadhaka? This is sadhakatva. In one person, if a sadhakatva is awakened, you can see only divine and sattvikata in that body. So, because we are dealing with the sattva raja tama, I never wanted to miss this part of internal transformation by which we come back to the pure sattvic state of existence. When all our aspects of existence, various aspects of existence, physical is offered to God, body as mind, He has dedicated itself, mind, psychic existence is offered to God, intellectual is offered to God, emotional being is offered to God. When the whole being is offered to God, divine, there is a transformation that comes in us. Sattva takes us beyond Sattva Rajas Tamas. Sattva has a nature to release you from the Prakriti. Though it belongs to Prakriti, Thakur used to tell that story. 3 thieves go, one person will be going, they are people who are highwaymen. So a person will be going through some forest or somewhere, they catch hold of him, and one wants, whatever he wants, he has, possesses, they want to take away and kill him and go. One person says, we'll kill him. Otherwise he will go and complain and somebody will come, we'll finish him off and take his possessions. The second one says, no, we'll bind him to a tree and then we'll take and go. Then they will bind and go. Then the third one comes back and releases him and takes him up to the village and leaves him there. And he says, I cannot. He in gratitude, that person wants, it is already dark, he doesn't know the road. So this third person has released him from the bondage, bindings, he has taken up to the village and shows, there is your house. He says, you have come all the way, please come to my home. See, I cannot, I am a thief after all, I cannot enter the village. I will be caught. So I have no place in the village, I will go back. So the Sattva Raja Tama is like this. Tamas wants to kill, Rajas wants to bind, Sattva wants to release, but it cannot enter the spiritual world because it belongs to the nature. But it takes man to that state where it is beyond, to the realm beyond the 3 gunas it takes. So all the instruments, when it is purified, when it is offered to God, there is the intellect which is now recognizes the divinity and nature. Oh, I have to just manage in such a way that the nature and God takes charge of my whole life, all my attainments. It is possible that understanding dawns in that intellect, that supreme intellect. Now the intellect is going almost something like Shuddha Sattva Pradhana. Sattva itself is so elevating and releasing. Now the Sattva becomes highly refined Sattva. It says, now the ego contained in the enlightened intellect, the ego contained in the enlightened surrenders to God. Yes, your will be done. When that ego surrenders, complete charge of the soul is taken by the Lord and the nature. Once the God takes charge of that soul, what else is there? So this is Sattva is taking it to the realm beyond. In Bhagavad Gita, God assures, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. I take the charge, total responsibility of what he has to attain. His life responsibility I take charge of him, that entire soul. Who ananyas chintayanto, without any other thought, one thing, and wherever thought goes, wherever he sees, whatever he does, is not without God. If he loves his child, he is seeing God in it. He goes and earns, cooks and feeds the child. In everything, he is seeing the divine. So Ananya, there is nothing is Anya. He is in the Ananya state. Ananyas chintayanto mam. In every thought, in every feeling, God is involved. His wife is sick, his mother is sick, hospital. He has to take to the hospital. He never thinks my spiritual practices will go away, because he is seeing the divine play going on. His wife has to be taken to the hospital. He is happy. He is seeing divine. So the Ananyas Chintaya, he is going with God everywhere, acting with God, interacting with God. In and through action is communing through God. This is Ananya Chinta. Ananyas Chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate. Through in and through all activities, in every way, whatever he does, whatever he thinks, whatever he feels, in and through all that he is doing, worshipping God. And he is worshipping God in everyone, in everything. So paryupasate, upasana is worshipping. Worshipping in every way, whatever possible. Every step is keeping, walking to the office. Every step is keeping with the name of God. It's getting offered to God. See, where is the difference between secular and spiritual? This question is asked by Brahmananji Maharaj, Ramakrishna's one of the disciples. He says, Are, where is the difference between secular and spiritual? Where is the demarcation? He says, no. There is no demarcation. You don't find. Till then, till Sattva awakens in us, we are the victims of Tamas and Rajas. It drags us to the world, doesn't allow us to do the spiritual practices peacefully. Now, nothing is a problem. War is not a problem. Corona is not a problem. Nothing is a problem. Everything is a joy. Everything is a paryupasate. Tesham nityabhiyuktana. Those who are united with yukta, nitya yukta, they are eternally in communion with me. They are communion means sharing of feelings and thoughts and offering all actions to Him. Is called communion. He is communing with in and through all things. Satata yukta. Tesham satata ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate. Tesham nitya yuktanam. Nitya yukta. They are nitya yuktas. Nitya yuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyam. Yoga is what he has to attain in his life. Every bit of things I will take care. Kshema is to protect his welfare. What he has got is to be preserved. It must be properly utilized. It must be, his welfare is to be taken care. So this yoga kshema, this he sees practically in his life. Oh, God is taking care. He releases his whole strain to the Divine Mother and God. See how the promises of Bhagavad Gita you can see. Similarly, the assurances given by God. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. And sarva dharman parityajya. He goes on on telling so many things. You do like this, you do like this, you do. He goes on telling bhakti yoga, karma yoga, this, that. 16 chapters, except the first one, he has already told what he has to do. When he comes to the 18th chapter, he says, give up all those I have told you to do, follow, that you will give up. Sarva dharma parichya. What all I have asked you to do, dharma, all this you leave. Mamekam sharanam raja. Come. The word used is Mahamekam Sharanam Raja. Here Sharanam is to be translated as take shelter under me. I am a tree. Take shelter under me. You will be from top of the world. You will be. It is many times it is translated as take refuge in me. It doesn't suit. That term doesn't suit. It is take shelter under me. I am the only tree that is giving shelter. There is no shelter in this world. So come, immediately come. So that Mahamekam Sharanam Raja, because elsewhere there is no Sharana. Don't by mistake think that a palm tree will give you shade. Neither fruit is too high. You cannot climb, nor you will get a shade. It is a tree. So, like that, I am the eternal tree which gives shelter for all people. So come to me. Mamekam Sharanam Raja, Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Moksha. Don't think I will release you from all sins. Sins means all that binds you, all that gives you suffering. Whatever it is, it may look, some things may look as virtue for us instead of sin, or merit for us, but it may be poison for us, we don't know. From all that gives you bondage and suffering, I liberate you from all that. Come. So, this is what the Sattvic mind searches and understands. I've already prepared a thing. I've got typed also this matter. I will send you by tomorrow and go through it again. When it is fresh in mind, these are the most important part of our Indian life, Indian culture. The whole thing is dependent on this. We should not leave these things in our life. It never harms your life in the world. You may not be able to live a worldly life, but life in the world, it doesn't abstract. You will have family, you will have earnings, you will go to the office, but everything is getting converted into yoga, that's all. A bhakta converts everything into yoga. Everything he dedicates, his body, mind, everything belongs to God. So this is what this Sattva Rajatama aspect, did you see how it is? I will send it by tomorrow, go through it again. So we will stop today. Any questions will be there, one or two. How to continuously feel the urge to awaken heart and love for all. Why does it come in waves? I want to feel this love for God. When this urge occurs, feel like leaving everything behind. But the thought of family kids draws me back from perceiving my urge for God. The thing is, nothing is an abstraction. The wrong understanding of life is the problem. You cannot see, we have come to this world to live as nature wants me to live. I want to go in a different way. We will live with family and all things. We need not shave our head or change our clothes. A few whom the God wants to do will do. Thakur repeatedly says, sannyasa or sansara is there in the hands of God. Both are going to the same end. Some are going through the city, some are going by bypass. Bypass, the sannyasis are going by bypass, a little longer way perhaps, but there is no obstructions in his passing. But in and through the city when he goes, there are a lot of halt and proceed. That doesn't matter. But attractions, so many things are there attracting and killing the time. There you have to be a bit careful. If you are devoted to God, God will take care of everything. And why we are not able to have a continuous, unbroken, unwavy, without ups and downs. Consistency is not there in my sadhana. Sometimes I get emotionally involved with God. I feel, I shed tears. Next moment I'm again there in the world. I don't even remember God. I've totally forgotten and I'm with some thoughts of the world. Why this difference comes? Because we have conscious mind, unconscious mind and subconscious mind. Now, what I have to do next? Oh, time is going on. I have to go there. I have to do the chanting. This, that, so many things. That is there in the subconscious mind. Conscious mind is this conscious mind. You are all sitting in front of me. I am talking to you. You are listening to me. All this conscious mind. There is subconscious mind in which so many things will be filled. And they will be waiting like tigers. We don't understand. I am a person who gets angry. You see, when everything is favorable, I am not at all getting angry. When something happens, suddenly that anger comes out. Where was it? It was deep inside. It was hidden. So many things like this, kama, krodha, this, that, so many things hide within. Because it will be constantly waiting for the opportunity to pounce upon. So it will be hiding. This unconscious mind is not purified. So the conscious mind wants to realize God. It wants to do everything. But in unconscious it is still. When unconscious gets purified, constant supply from the unconscious comes. Otherwise, after some time of this one, this again comes up from the unconscious and this suppresses the spiritual feelings. So, these ups and downs come. Once the mind, the conscious mind is also full of yearning for God, and unconscious also is yearning for God. Then it becomes a constancy. How to transform this unconscious mind? Because unconscious is inaccessible even to the topmost psychiatrist or psychologist. Nobody can. I myself cannot enter into my unconscious. How can others enter? So unconscious mind is always a sealed case. How to transform it? So when you start doing japa and little spiritual studies and have faith in God, slowly develop faith in God, this all are happening at the conscious mind. There are two things mostly support your understanding is one satsanga and your own studies. Then your viveka also. You go on comparing and self-introspection will help you. So one way jnana is coming to you. How much we have studied, you have three bodies, gross, subtle and causal. How many things we are studying each time. How much of knowledge about myself, about the world and about God we are getting. This knowledge protects you from so many things. There is another stream flowing in you is flow of japa. You must hold on to some name of God now and then. Remember that. So that the tendency of the mind is always to go straight outside, like a rays of the sun. Mind is always going outside. If you tie a thing which is going outside, tie a thread and hook it, then it takes a tangential turn and start revolving within a circle. So it unnecessarily doesn't go. This is the main thing done by the repetition of God's name. Mantra japa will make it go within a small circle. And you will be left free to do your work. The name of the bodily work is going on. Mind is repeating the God's name. And when the mind also is involved like computer work, then give your heart to God. When you are engaged in bodily actions, give your mind to God. When the mind is also engaged, give your heart to God. Giving heart, many of you must have experienced. So powerful it is. It will make you mad. Tears will be coming from eyes. Work will be going on smoothly. We do all the duties. So this, the dhara of prema, dhara of jnana and dhara of japa, when it enters the unconscious, it transforms. You cannot destroy anything in the unconscious. That's why all psychiatrists fail here. You cannot destroy. You cannot take out. You cannot do anything. You can transform it. It gets divinized. Now you wanted to have children. Instead of having children, you have many disciples, many satsanga people around you. Now you wanted to have a fine building. Now the desire was working. Now you'll build up a house for somebody else. You'll build a temple. So the same desires will come in such a way it becomes divinized. Everything gets divinized inside. All desires will remain, all things will remain, but it will come out as divine. That's all. So then you'll see everything consistency. Because nothing is outside the limits of your action and thought and feelings. Do you understand? And the thing is, internalize your longing for God. Never any expression outside, it abates, it becomes, the intensity becomes decreased. Externally you must be Shanta, loving personality must move about in this world, radiating bliss and joy. I was telling yesterday about Satish Prabhu of Aurangabad. In those days, wherever he used to go, there used to be a mart of joy. Ha 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 ha. Everywhere, joy, joy. He used to move about with joy. The same condition may not be there. But those days, how we enjoyed his company. All the time he is moving with joy. That kind of joy you must radiate. Joy, peace, wherever you go. Or externally, the whole that longing must be internalized to hold the God and drag him from inside. So that's what we have to do. How do we awaken sattva? Are we at mercy of Prakriti, or can we do something to awaken it? Please tell us one or two main ways that will increase the sattva. The sattva, we have the main instrument that awakens sattva is intellect. Intellect has to awaken the heart also. Later on you will see the heart, real love is awakened by the inner intellect, awakened intellect. Awakened means not spiritually awakened. Spiritually awakened means you already crossed the important barriers of matter. It is from nature, within the nature it's awakened. This awakening takes place through prayer, through love of other beings and accommodating all people of varieties of nature. People belong to different nature, different tendencies, different, especially in the place where we are working. And competitive spirit. No, we have to give up competitive spirit. You flourish, you flourish. The tendency is somebody is climbing, I want to, if I cannot climb higher than them, I will pull him back. This is one tendency, feeling jealousy and pulling back, so that I will be the first. So this has to be, this competitive spirit, you are going, yes, I will push you. You see, there was one tabla master play in Kamarpukur. All his disciples used to play excellently better than himself. He used to feel so happy. They used to come to him still. They acquire the knowledge, the way in which he teaches awakens from him the techniques how to play. They don't go to anywhere. In those days, internet, this, that and all facilities were not there. But his way, the patterns of thinking, he used to awaken in them. So they used to play varieties of things matching with he used to feel, he used to feel proud and he used to push them, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, my child. That kind of feeling, the motherly feeling must arouse in us. Anybody attaining anything to help them in their advancement, that kind of. But usual tendency is whatever you do, people doesn't move. Very difficult to make man move towards the divine. There is great resistance. Last they will start hating you. Why this person is there? God, God, God always. Like that. So this love has to be now and then introspection, prayer. Whenever you find a difficult problem within you, pray. When you feel the deficiency of a particular thing, immediately pray, Thakur, give me this, Thakur, give me that. And then when you see anything anywhere good in the world, immediately imbibe it. Immediately take it. It will increase your sattva. Anything. A fine cooking. Be interested in everything. Wherever you see good, wherever you see bad, immediately question yourself. Question your heart. How could you see that? You are still there. No. Wake up, wake up. They are all children. And should I become lower than them that I am able to see the defect in them? So whenever you see something wrong, check your heart. Whenever you see something good, immediately imbibe in your life. This is one way of, one is prayer, one is service. Give a helping hand to all. This will increase your sattva. Even otherwise, nature's plan is that you must move towards that. When we try to do continuous japa, work that needs concentration like studying, calculating is difficult to do. How can we practice so that japa remains unbroken? It's gone here. Yes, we are back again. We try to do continuous japa, work that needs concentration like studying, calculating is difficult to do. How can we practice that japa? See, by habit, practice. Whatever work be there, mind is continuously working. Non-stop it is working. So, and mind has got multitask capacity. Now, only one mind I have. I am seeing audio visual. I am seeing you and talking to you. One mind is attending to eyes and ears also. Two works it is doing simultaneously. Because we have practiced this from the childhood. Multitasking. It is doing. And the frequency in which it is moving between the eyes and ears, it synchronizes in such a way that it doesn't miss either of the two. By practice, I started doing this japa practice when I was in second year pre-university. When going to college, I used to take a vow, I will not miss japa and I will not miss the remembrance of God. I will not forget God. I will not stop japa. Morning, as soon as I get up, I sit. I pray for the welfare of all and take this vow not to forget God and not to miss japa. I go by cycle from Rajajnagar to Cantonment. It takes about 1 hour cycling, ups and downs. Throughout I will be fully conscious of God. I mean, people coming, going, so much. It was not rushy like this in 1970s, Bangalore. So I was, you can close your eyes and leave the handle and go by cycle. So 1 or 2 cars used to come in an hour. So freely I used to go and constantly remember God and do the japa. Keeping the cycle in the stand, turn and meet one friend. I don't know where God has gone, where the japa has gone. It is to get. Then again in the classroom when I sit, again I will remember, hey, I've forgotten. Again I will start. And again I will get involved in the subject. And again I will miss. Again some student will ask one question, then I will remember, I have forgotten. Like this, when I come back home at night before sleeping, when I see how many hours I have been able to think of God, it will be totally it might be half an hour or 15 minutes. Japa I might have continued for an hour or 2. So, I used to again, next day again, I will tell sorry to God and again next day I will pick up to do. 8 months, the frequency goes on increasing, quantity goes on increasing, little by little. After 1 month you will see, you have been able to think of God half an hour, 45 minutes. And japa you are able to do about 3 hours. Like that, when I came to second year graduation from pre-university, I was able to do unbroken thought of God and unbroken japa. So it has taken 3 years for me, but it was worth struggling. Today I am sitting before you and talking because I spent those days there like that. So practice, abhyasa. Mind gets split into 2. One turned inward, one turned outward. Inward will be constantly repeating japa and thinking of God. And the other one, Thakur used to say, elephant has got 2 types of teeth. One is tusk to show and to fight. Other is to eat inside. So you must have like that mind split into 2 to take care of the external things, family, work, office work and all that outward, and internally to grip God, never to release your grip on God within. Take any form which pleases you, whom you love, whatever way, whatever aspect of God, whatever form. Ultimately, it is one reality, one ocean, many waves of many forms. So it doesn't matter. You dive in this wave or in that wave, you enter the same ocean, Satchidananda. Whether it's Krishna or Rama doesn't matter. Once the spiritual awakening is over, the differences between name dissolve. Once you enter into Savikalpa Samadhi, difference in form also dissolves. Okay? What is personal God and impersonal absolute? We have dealt this in detail last classes. Personal God and impersonal aspect. Ishvara, the Lord of the universe. See there from the absolute. Again, if you want, we can discuss. From the when the universe is forming, the Divine Mother drags the consciousness as Bindu Vasini, and the whole, it has to get existence. So whole expansion is there. Brahmanda is going to form, in that the consciousness is pervading it. In Jiva also consciousness is pervading. So the Jiva, the consciousness pervading the individual body is called Jivatman. The consciousness is pervading the universe and says I is Ishvara. And the absolute in which the universe dissolves and appears is impersonal absolute. Now take for example space instead of consciousness. There is a pot in the room. The pot space is indivisible, one space. The pot space is Jivatman. The room space is Ishvara, personal God. When you sleep, you forget the pot. So you become one with in deep sleep, your individual soul becomes one with the cosmic soul. And the space beyond, this pot space is Jivatman, room space is Ishvara, and the space beyond, eternal space in which a number of houses come and fall off, that space is absolute, impersonal absolute. When we go inward, the moment you transcend the mind, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya you cross in meditation, you land in Vijnanamaya Kosha. Then first time you go from the Deha Bhava to Jiva Bhava. You will be understanding you are not this bodily existence, but you are the transmigratory soul. You will remember one or two old lives also after that, where you are in the last life. At least life you may remember. Buddha remembered 500 lives, it seems, past lives. Like that you will remember this existence of yours from Deha Bhava to Jiva Bhava. When you go, you will enter into Chidakasha, space of consciousness. There you will get the vision of God, in which form you are loving. Suppose as Krishna, as Rama, you will first go, the consciousness takes the form for your sake and appears before you. Interact with this is Savikalpa Samadhi, the superconscious state in which you experience God with form. Just like I and you talk, you will talk with God then. So the impersonal becomes personal. Now after that, when you want to become one with the personal God, the form starts dissolving. Your form also dissolves. Your name, form, every whole existence, physical everything starts dissolving. God's also dissolves. And you start becoming like two ice balls kept in sunshine. They start dissolving. becoming Ekarasa, one that takes us to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the ultimate oneness with God, the absolute, that is impersonal God. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, what we experience is the impersonal God. In Savikalpa, we experience the personal God. Personal God is as long as you have body and mind, you can reach only personal God. Impersonal is a imagination alone. Like a blind man. Light he understands, but he has never seen. He cannot understand what is distance. Sky, what is it? He cannot understand. Blind man. His world, he exists only up to the sound that he can hear. That is the ultimate distance that he can understand. So, when he gets eyes, then only he will understand what is light. Like that, what is impersonal can be known only when you transcend mind and go beyond. One day you will be able to transcend the mind also. It won't be difficult and far off. A few years of little struggle with all your duties and responsibilities of family and work field, you will be safely able to reach that state. It should not be difficult. How sincere you are, how serious you are, that's all it takes. Nothing should dilute it, and it must be totally internalized, not depending. You read the article tomorrow, how the transformations happen. I wish you all undergo the transformation and reach the goal. Shall we end? So thank you all. I feel so joy to see you all and meet. Namaste to each one of you. हे प्रार्थना जगदीश से यह स्वर्ग सम संसार हो, अति उच्चतम जीवन बने परमार्थमय व्यवहार हो। ना हम रहे अपने लिए, हमको सभी से गर्ज है। गुरुदेव ये आशीष दो, जो सोचने का फर्ज है। हम हो पुजारी तत्व के, गुरुदेव के आदेश के, सच प्रेम के नित नेम के, सद्धर्म के सत्कर्म के। हो चीड़ झूठी राह की, अन्याय की अभिमान की, सेवा करन में दास की, परवाह नहीं हो जान की। छोटे न हो हम बुद्धि से, हो विश्वमय से ईशमय, हो राममय और कृष्णमय, जगदेवमय जगदीशमय। हर इंद्रियों पर ताब कर, हम वीर हो अति वीर हो। उज्ज्वल रहे सर से सदा, निज धर्म रथ खंबीर हो। अति शुद्ध हो आचार से, तन मन हमारा सर्वदा। अध्यात्म की शक्ति हमें पल भी नहीं कर दे जुदा। इस अमर आत्मा का हमें हर श्वास भर में गत रहे। गर मौत भी तो आ गई, सुख दुख हमसे सम रहे। गर मौत भी तो आ गई, सुख दुख हमसे सम रहे। सुख दुख हमसे सम रहे।